Have you ever been deeply hurt by someone and found yourself wondering if they'll ever face consequences for what they did to you? Maybe it was a betrayal by a friend, a toxic relationship that left you broken, or someone who intentionally caused you pain and walked away seemingly untouched. The desire for justice is completely human, and while we often hear about karma, we rarely talk about how it actually manifests in real life. Today, we're diving into 6 unmistakable signs that karma is already at work, quietly delivering its own form of justice to the person who hurt you. Before we jump in, I want you to understand something crucial about karma. It's not about revenge or wishing harm on others. Karma is simply the universe's way of maintaining balance. It's the natural consequence of actions, and it operates whether we're watching or not. Sometimes the person who hurt you might seem like they're thriving, posting happy photos on social media, appearing successful and carefree. But karma works beneath the surface, and the signs are there if you know what to look for. The first sign that karma is already punishing someone is when they keep repeating the same destructive patterns over and over again. You know what I'm talking about? That person who betrayed you? Notice how they can't seem to maintain any stable relationships. They move from friendship to friendship, relationship to relationship, always ending up in the same place, surrounded by drama and conflict. This isn't coincidence. This is karma's way of teaching through repetition. When someone hurts others without genuine remorse or self-reflection, the universe ensures they stay stuck in a cycle until they learn the lesson. They might think they're moving forward, meeting new people, starting fresh, but they're actually running in circles. Each new connection eventually mirrors the last, and they find themselves dealing with the same issues they created in your relationship with them. What makes this particularly karmic is that they often can't see they're the common denominator. They blame everyone else, never looking inward, and so the pattern continues. Meanwhile, you've moved on, grown, and evolved, while they remain trapped in their own creation. The second sign is isolation that creeps in slowly but steadily. When someone hurts you, especially through betrayal or deception, they often don't realize they're planting seeds that will eventually grow into their own loneliness. Initially, they might have seemed to gain from hurting you. Maybe they chose someone else over you, or maybe they built themselves up by tearing you down in front of others. But here's what happens over time. People start to see their true colors. It might not happen immediately, and it might not happen dramatically, but it happens. The mask slips during a moment of stress, or someone else experiences what you experienced, and suddenly there's a whisper network. Others begin to distance themselves, not because of anything you said or did, but because patterns have a way of revealing themselves. This person finds that invitations become less frequent. People stop confiding in them. Their circle shrinks, and they're left wondering why everyone seems to drift away. They might blame others for being fake or not understanding them. But the truth is that karma is simply removing the connections that were maintained under false pretenses. The most poignant part of this karmic consequence is that loneliness forces introspection. In the silence and solitude, they're left alone with their choices, their actions, and the person they've become. The third sign that karma is already working is when they experience the exact same hurt they inflicted on you. This is perhaps the most direct form of karmic justice, and it's surprisingly common. The person who cheated on you? Watch them struggle with trust issues in their next relationship, or better yet, watch them get cheated on themselves. The friend who spread malicious rumors about you? They'll eventually find themselves on the receiving end of gossip and lies. The family member who manipulated and gaslighted you? They'll encounter someone who does the same to them, and they'll finally understand what it feels like to question your own reality. This isn't about taking pleasure in their pain. It's about recognizing that sometimes the universe's most effective teacher is experience. When we hurt others, especially intentionally, we create a vibration that attracts similar energy back to us. It's not magic. It's simply the law of cause and effect playing out in human relationships. What's fascinating is how often the person going through this karmic return doesn't connect the dots. They'll complain about how unfairly they're being treated, completely oblivious to the fact that they're now living out the exact scenario they created for you. This lack of awareness is itself part of the karmic lesson, because until they make that connection and genuinely understand the pain they caused, the lesson remains incomplete. The fourth sign is when their success feels hollow and unfulfilling, even when they appear to have everything. Maybe the person who hurt you did it to get ahead. They stepped on you to climb higher, took credit for your work, or sacrificed your well-being for their advancement. From the outside, they might look successful. They got the promotion, the recognition, the material wealth. But here's where karma operates in whispers. That success doesn't bring them the satisfaction they expected. There's an emptiness that follows them, a nagging sense that something is missing. They achieve one goal and immediately need another, never feeling content, always chasing the next thing. This is because success built on the suffering of others carries a weight that material achievement can't balance out. They might not consciously recognize it, but somewhere deep inside, they know that what they have came at someone else's expense, and that knowledge poisons their ability to truly enjoy their accomplishments. You'll notice this in subtle ways. Despite their achievements, they seem anxious, stressed, always needing validation from others. They post constantly about their wins, as if trying to convince themselves as much as others. They develop stress-related health issues, struggle with sleep, or turn to substances to cope with an internal discomfort they can't quite name. Meanwhile, you might have less in material terms, but you sleep peacefully at night knowing you maintained your integrity. You find joy in simple things because your success, however modest, is genuinely yours. The fifth sign that karma is at work is when they lose something or someone irreplaceable, and they finally understand what they threw away. This often happens long after the initial hurt, which is why we sometimes don't connect it to karma. But timing is part of how karma works. The person who didn't appreciate you, who took you for granted, who chose to hurt you instead of valuing what you offered, they eventually find themselves in a position where they desperately want what they once had with you. Maybe they're in a new relationship that looks perfect on paper, but lacks the genuine connection you shared. Maybe they achieve professional success, but realize they have no one who truly knows them to celebrate with. Maybe life gets difficult, and they suddenly remember how you were always there during hard times, and now they face challenges alone. This realization often comes with attempts to reconnect, to apologize, to explain that they've changed. And while people can genuinely grow and change, this moment of recognition is itself a karmic consequence. They're experiencing the loss of something valuable that they destroyed through their own actions. They're living with the knowledge that they had something real and beautiful, and they were the ones who ruined it. Even if you choose to forgive or reconnect, they carry that awareness forever. They know they weren't worthy of what you gave them, and that knowledge is its own form of punishment. The sixth and final sign is perhaps the most subtle but most powerful. It's when they can't escape their own conscience. No matter how much they try to justify what they did, no matter how many stories they tell themselves or others, there's a part of them that knows the truth. You see this in the moments when they're defensive about things no one accused them of, when they bring up your name years later out of nowhere, when they overcompensate with others to prove they're not the person they were with you. The human conscience is remarkably persistent, and karma uses it as an internal accountability system. They might seem fine on the surface, but in quiet moments, when they're alone with their thoughts, the memory of what they did surfaces. It shows up in their dreams, in unexpected moments of reflection, in the way they flinch when certain topics come up. They may try to suppress it with busyness, with new relationships, with substances, with endless distractions. But it's always there, waiting in the stillness. This internal karmic justice is ongoing. Unlike external consequences that might come and go, the conscience is a constant companion. Every time they do something kind for someone else, there's a whisper reminding them of their cruelty to you. Every time they demand honesty from others, there's a memory of their own deception. Every time they're hurt, there's an echo of the pain they caused. So what does all this mean for you, the person who was hurt? First, it means you can release the burden of needing to see justice served. Karma is already at work, operating in ways that are far more thorough and persistent than anything you could orchestrate. Your energy is better spent on healing, growing, and creating a beautiful life for yourself. Second, it means that your healing dependent on their punishment. Whether they suffer consequences or not doesn't change your worth, your story, or your capacity to move forward. And finally, it means that the best response to being hurt is to become living proof that their actions didn't break you. When you thrive, when you love again, when you trust again despite what they did, you demonstrate that they don't have power over your story. Remember, karma isn't about revenge. It's about balance, growth, and natural consequences. Sometimes the person who hurt you will face obvious, dramatic consequences. Other times, the consequences will be quiet and internal. Either way, it's not your responsibility to deliver justice, or even to witness it. Your only responsibility is to yourself, to heal, to grow, and to ensure that the pain they caused becomes the foundation for your wisdom rather than your bitterness. Trust that the universe has its own accounting system, and focus on writing the next chapter of your story, one where you're the hero who rose above, not the victim waiting for revenge.